Hey guys, and welcome to Antimatter Chemistry Progression Log 5? Yeah, 5. I did get some stuff done this week. It's been pretty good. I've been pretty productive this week. So I guess we'll go ahead and start off with this is the wrong direction. The most drastic change, which is I finally got around to building the dissolver towers, which meant that I also got around to finally building the reservoir. This was an extensive project. This took several hours. Mostly digging it out. Filling it up wasn't so bad. I just had an RF Tools builder do it, and I had to wait for a bunch of water to generate. But other than that, it was fine, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, it works out. Has been turning out pretty well. I really like this area. It looks a little bit different. It feels a little bit different than I initially expected, but I think it turned out pretty well. I really like the glass and stuff. All of these to bring cables in. This is all facades and stuff to bring cables, and I have to route it to the floors because I don't really want anything overhead for this. But it worked out pretty well. We have cadmium over here, phosphorus. We're dissolving protein, potassium nitrate, like rotten flesh for protein, gunpowder for potassium nitrate, and then we were already making red dye. And I don't know why that's flickering. Anyway, um, yeah, so we have hydrogen sulfide as we will use this for cinnabar, so we're going to need a little bit of that hanging around. And then I'm also breaking it down for mercury because we'll need that for singularities eventually. But yeah, eventually we're going to have a few more over here, like gray dye and then light blue dye. That'll give us barium and cobalt respectively. I'm sure there's some more things that I'm going to want to dissolve in the future. Uh, Not right now, though. It's more than good enough. The main thing I was over here was mainly for cadmium. We're actually dissolving bones for phosphorus because we're actually getting calcium from diorite. You get this from it's andesite you get calcium from. So when I had level limit the calcium on the bones, we were already over 250k, so it just wasn't on. So I decided to level limit it on phosphorus since that's other than glowstone, it's pretty much the main source of phosphorus. So we already had calcium, so I decided to level it off phosphorus since that was pretty useful from it as well. And that was it was pretty good. So we have tons and tons of elements. We're in a very good position. So moving on. But I guess this reservoir. One thing I want to talk more about this reservoir. I guess. Um, I'm not particularly sure about how I want to do the terrain around it. So instead of it just being like a white flat, right beyond stone, I just threw some grass down to see how I felt about that. I do want this to be a little bit more of a rocky area, so I might make some changes, and it might be like how it is over here, where we have these like tiny ponds that have been sectioned off with mossy cobblestone. And I might try something like that. That's what I'm thinking about over here. But I didn't really feel like doing a lot of deco work last night, so I didn't. After I spent a lot of time doing other deco work, and I didn't really feel like trying something at the time I got around to this. As for the mob farm pyramid over here, I just threw some spikes on the corners, and I felt like that worked pretty well. I'm not really that sure about trying to use a different block at this late in the build, like iron or something that would have been a little bit more realistic, I guess, since it is a mob farm. So I just decided to use some of the bricks we already use, and I think that turned out pretty good. It's very minimalistic, so I don't know if it works for this one because it's kind of small. But I'm not sure if something like that would work for the ziggurat over there. I think the spikes would be good on the corners, but I'm gonna have to figure out something more for the centers, just because it's, so long. I'm gonna want something in like this general area as well. But yeah. As for the decoration over here, I haven't touched it yet because I wasn't really feeling too inspired up until around pretty late last night. I think I want this to be a little bit more of a wetland, swampy area. Over here, it's more of like rivers and stuff. This really isn't. I don't consider this kind of. I guess this is sort of wetlands. But I want this to be like slightly deeper water. We use a lot of sand at the base, and I want to use sand and clay blocks since we do have a lot of that stuff. Uh, so this is going to become mostly water, I think. Unfortunately, I don't have any lily pads yet. You can't actually make them. The only way to get them is to generate an RF Tools dimension and then go find them in that dimension. So I don't really know how that's going to work out. It's really kind of sad that you can't generate them. You can't make them. So it is what it is. I bet if we get one, we can duplicate it with a phytogenic insulator. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give myself one just so because it's only decorative stuff. And then I just want to duplicate it. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Because actually, speaking of giving myself some stuff, I turns out over the last week I have voided around 3,000 ingots of lead. Uh, I'm not exactly sure where it was happening. It was happening somewhere between making hardened glass and actually grinding down lead into dust. I fixed it by setting XNet to, I believe I fixed it by setting it to extract from or insert. What was it? I think it was I started extracting from single from lead dust over here. No, I think I fixed. Maybe it was over here. Yeah, it was over here that I fixed it because I also noticed that the only reason I'm pretty sure the LA furnaces at the very least were voiding. These things aren't doing hardened glass, but I noticed they were voiding a little bit of ferroboron specifically. When I had this pulling out, when I had XNet pulling out of the alloy furnace in stack form, every time this would run a tough alloy recipe, which consumes 2 ferroboron, it would pull 2 ingots of ferroboron out of this one, and the 2 ingots would go nowhere. Like they would pull 1 ingot into the drawer because because it would pull 1 ingot from the interface to feed the alloy furnace, which would pull 1 ingot from the drawer, so it would be down one, but it would pull two from the alloy furnace. So it was voiding at least 1 ingot. And I'm not exactly sure where the lead dust was being voided because it wasn't being voided over here because it was being voided somewhere before it was making hardened glass. But I legitimately have no idea where it was getting teleported to. I think it was getting voided when dumping into the manufactory to make lead. Uh, but I don't know. After setting it over here, I know I set something over here to a single. I'm not exactly sure what I did. Uh, hmm. I don't know. I know I said something to single. I forget what it was. Maybe I inserted something like that over here. I don't know. But it seems to have been fixed recently. Um, so I don't know. But that was a lot of lead ingots. It was several hours of mining, and I'm really fucking annoyed about that. So I was again thinking about giving myself all the lead ingots I voided, since those are the ones I know that have disappeared, and I'm absolutely 1,000% sure that I have voided lead ingots somewhere, lots and lots of lead ingots. I haven't, like I said, tracking it down was very hard, and I'm still not exactly sure where or when they were getting voided, but they are. So, um, let me know what you got. I haven't done it yet because I was just wanted to bring it up with you guys to let me know what you guys thought. Uh, I personally would really like to because, like I said, it was several hours of mining, in total, probably around 10 to 14, worth hours of just mining lead and silver. Because lead dust is also a byproduct from silver ore, so um, like you get a small chance of lead. So um let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I kind of want to do it, but if you guys think that's kind of like a bad no-no, then maybe I won't. Um I might still do it anyway, but I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. There's been some more work done over here. Specifically, I've been working on getting Lumium and Signalum on passive. I also have a bunch of Magma Crucibles over here. This is for, all the various different molten things we'll need, like blazing pyrotheum, aerothium, petrotheum, cryotheum, destabilized redstone, anderium, and this is glowstone. I haven't, this one isn't on actually. It's not actually melting down glowstone, because we actually, from the lava pump, it often pulls energized glowstone out from the nether. So I've basically just been hand pulling from this drum and just putting it over there where the storage bus is because I didn't really feel like running a cable all the way over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that to refill, and I'll come back in a minute. Um, Over here, we also have the various nuclear craft platings on passive. Uh, we're gonna need a lot of that stuff for various machines, as well as the fusion reactor, or the fission reactors, I should say, which I plan to start building sometime this week. So yeah, we have Signalum gears on passive now as well. Um, yeah, I'm pretty happy with what's been going on over here. We also have the various dusts I've been put on passive, and I finally got around to putting light blue dye on passive, as uh, we have lapis on passive now. I just had to go add it. Um, yeah, this one's going to be for Enderium, but I haven't done that yet because the base metal for Enderium is, it's like lead, platinum alloy, I believe. Yeah, it's lead platinum alloy, and as you guys know, we have no lead, so that is a thing that'll have to happen soon. But I was waiting to see if you guys are okay with me, giving myself all that lead, because that would save me from having to mine a bunch of lead. But yeah. So over here, we're doing pretty good on lava power. This is about 9,000 RF per tick worth of lava power. You can actually put upgrades in these things, and it does obviously consume more steam, but it produces more power. So with two of these things at Signalum, it consumes 300 millibuckets of steam for 600 RF per tick. But you only need one transmission coil in here to feed this all the lava, or to feed this all this, make the same amount of steam as it takes to feed this one. But it looks like it's eating more lava that it can pull out of there. So let me go ahead and quickly pull out a servo before bad things happen. My inventory is kind of a mess, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, so that should be better, hopefully. I might need to put another one here and pull out from another one. How? But that should be good enough for now, I think. Uh, let's take a look at the battery over here. See if yeah, okay, it's still got enough power. So we're doing okay. We'll go ahead and put this back, and then I can continue talking about stuff while it makes more lumium. Let's see. You gonna turn on? There we go. Nice. Okay. Back to what we were talking about. Oh, one thing I've done as well is I know I mentioned last week about being able to use sticky cards and subnets, and I did actually go ahead and do that last night. So these things are now bi-directional, but they're partitioned with sticky cards, so all of these things will always go here because they have storage drawers that leave them here. So actually, hmm, well, cellulose doesn't get put back into the system, so that should be fine, I guess. I didn't actually think about cellulose, and then also sucrose, which I'm gonna have to set up over here. Um, that's actually another thing I was thinking about. Because I am doing like a mob farm dissolving offsite over in the pillar area, I was maybe thinking about ripping out this dissolver stuff over here and just storing those various items over there, or storing all the items here and then just dissolving everything over there. But I don't really know. I don't really want to rip all this out because this was kind of time consuming. Um, but I don't know. Maybe we'll get around to it. We'll have to see. If I don't want cellulose and sucrose being attempted to put back in here and being able to put nowhere, um, I may instead just put another storage bus and partition that one and have that one extract only. That wouldn't be too bad at all. It'd be like a 5-minute fix, but I didn't actually think about that until I checked it right now. And I did the same thing for the mob farm. I put a sticky card in there, bi-directional, so all those mob drops will only go there. So I should probably clean the drives out. One thing I'm waiting to clean the drives out is I also want to do a general drive revamp. Honestly, I just want to rip this whole area out. I started working a little bit more on completing the rest of the core pyramid last night, but obviously it's not done. I want to get rid of all this stuff in here. This is where I want the controller to be, even though we don't really need a controller because we turned off channels again. But I like a controller because it looks cool, so I'm gonna build one down here eventually. And then I also want to put a bunch of stuff up here. I'm kind of tired of working down here in this terrible area. So I do need to do that soon. I do want to do that soon, but there's just 1,000 to 1 things that are competing for my attention. As is the general state of things when it comes to modern Minecraft, is there's always 10,001 things you want to do and need to do, and it's always about a balancing act of what you can and can't do with your time available. It's a big part of modern Minecraft is time management, actually. So, like I said over here, I added a few more things. We have Cinnabar now. I also added sulfur since we chewed all that up for pyrotheum. Niter, we need that too for aerothium. And I also put lapis on passive. Yeah, like right here. There we go. So We can now turn that into dye, which we can turn that into cobalt, which is very good. Over here, I've started to expand some more stuff. This is kind of where the nuclear reactors are gonna go. As like this upcoming week, I want to build a nuclear reactor as well as build the mob farm. I should say the loot crate opening area, which has about 1.1 million. I think it's almost 1.2 million chests to open. Of just the common ones. Yeah, almost 1.2 million. We also have a lot of these rare ones, which will be pretty useful because the rare ones actually give us some really good items. This wasn't in the last version, but they actually give you the storage components, which is very, very nice, as well as a bunch of various AE components, which is one reason I haven't put these on passive yet, is specifically because we can get them passive through rare loot, which is not like a super fast source, but also we have a lot of these crates, so actually, what's really funny too is I don't have any auto crafting yet. Not a single one. And I haven't really noticed at all. I just kind of keep forgetting that I don't have auto crafting because everything is so quick and easy to craft, especially after Money Factory. It's like, oh wow, there aren't 14 steps of micro crafting. It's fine. It's no big deal. Um, what also helps is just putting a lot of things on passive, so you don't really have to do a lot of micro crafting as well. Um, the big things are like putting alloys on passive as well as the various like processors and stuff from AE components. So there's still some things that I have to do like crafting for like terminals and stuff, but it's like 2 steps. So I'm not really that concerned about it right now. Eventually, I'll get around to it, I'm sure. So yeah, over here is going to be where the nuclear reactors are going to go, and I kind of want them a little bit more separate from the rest of like this main area because it's going to be a very big stylistic change. I want to be because it's a nuclear reactors. I want them to be less organic, I guess. Surrounded by organic stuff. I'm going to sink them down a little bit and have like a brick areas where they're gonna go, kind of like how it was in Monty Factory with the where the nuclear craft reactors were, where they kind of had slots they sat into. I'm gonna build something like that. So that I do want that to be slightly different and kind of sectioned off away from the rest of the base, so it's very clear that this is like a little bit of a dangerous or not necessarily a dangerous, but a different area. So. Over here, this pyramid is where I was going to be building ore processing. Unfortunately, I was not really paying attention last night as I built this pyramid. And it is off-center by a block, which is really fucking annoying. So I'm going to have to move it because it is going to annoy the fuck out of me. And it won't take me like that long. It'll take me like, I don't know, like an hour or something at most. And I'm going to want to do it now before I actually build functionality into it as well. But this is where I'm going to do all the ore processing. What's nice is because we can make Cinnabar, the last time I played Antimatter Chemistry, I was playing in an old version where you didn't actually have a way to make Cinnabar. The only way to get it was to do it like this, through the tectonic initiator, effectively, which is not a great source. It's not a consistent source of doing it that way. So, um, now that we can make it, we can actually use the pyro concentrator for ore processing, for quadrupling, which will be very, very good. So I do want to set this up fairly soon. I don't know if I want to do this before or after the nuclear reactors. We're kind of all right on power right now. It's not like super great, but we also have like 4K or so worth of overhead. So I could do some I do a very small amount of ore processing. Um, just like maybe like these 2 induction smelters, and then use that for like making various thorium and uranium. I specifically haven't been mining that specifically so I can leave it behind and I'll process it once we have our processing set up. Uh, so that's another project that I want to do upcoming this week. I want to build ore processing, which means I'm gonna have to fix this pyramid. I'm gonna want to build a nuclear reactor for power, and then I'm gonna want to build a mob crate opening thingy. I don't know where I'm going to put that, if that's going to go in a shack. It probably will because they're not actually that large. Well, they are like, it's like 4 blocks or something to open them, but mostly it's going to be storage. So I'm not sure if I want to put that, like just throw the storage, um, like for specifically the rare ones. Like if you look at like the regular loot crates, Like this is all elements in white antimatter, which is one chemical dissolver, and everything just gets dumped straight into mainnet where it gets stored on the already deep storage units we have, or sorry, black hole units that we have. So white crates not will be easy to store. It takes like 10 seconds. Rare loot, there's a bunch of items here that we're gonna have to store. That's like what, 3 by 3, 6, 9, 10, so 39 items that we're gonna have to store. I'm not sure if I want to store them in black hole units specifically, because there's a lot of these things that we just don't want lots of. Like these argon lights we can dissolve, so we probably will dissolve them, right? Uh, Blaze rods we're going to want a lot of. The various growth crystals we're probably going to want to keep. The storage all the AE stuff we're going to want to keep. Antimatter we can dump. The various all the upgrades we're going to want. But things like, milk, we don't care about that. Large medical kits, I don't know. We don't really need too much of that stuff either. Like Drop of Evil, we don't need infinite amount of that stuff either. Diamonds we have on passive and we'll get through ore processing, so it'll be nice to have, but I think we actually already have a black hole unit for that. But things like a player chest, like, I don't care. And we don't need that. So that might just get voided just straight up. Clay blocks, we already have storage. So I have to figure out how to do all this stuff, like what I want, how I want to do the storage. So that's going to be something that's going to probably actually warrant a pyramid. As for where I put that, I don't actually know. I might put it somewhere over here. Build a pyramid over here. Um, but the problem is it's going to have to be larger than this one, I think, or this is going to have to sit lower in the pyramid than what I did before. I've also thought about maybe modifying this area, like knocking out one of these walls here and pushing it back a little bit so I have more room for more black hole units. That would be a solution, and that I think would be enough storage for all the items that I'd want to store in a black hole unit, and then I'd have to like decide what I wanted to throw away, right? Like lava infused stone. We'll probably keep a few blocks of this, but I don't know. We might have like a 4x4 drawer with voiding, and then instead of having to like items that we want, but we don't want to dedicate a whole black hole unit to. So uh, that's gonna have to be something that I build. I'm still not exactly sure how I know how to do that exactly, like I've mentioned. But that'll be a fun question to answer, I think. That's a lot of fun. I also, man, I really need to figure out what I want to do with this area. We also have a ton of like free open water space in this reservoir, and I don't really know what to put over here. I guess I can just leave it open, just to have it like a big open water area, and then also if I need more dissolver towers than I have planned out over here than I could, but I already have lots of room with all the various paths that I've drawn as is. So, uh, and also down here is pretty boring. It's just stone all the way through. There's nothing particularly interesting about here. So maybe I'll try and build some interesting things down there, but again, don't really know what I'm gonna do with this. So we'll see. It's not a project that I plan to work on anytime soon, like, spicing up the reservoir. I feel like it's pretty good as is, especially once I start building more and more of the dissolver towers. I feel like that'll help a lot with it not really feeling like there's too much stuff over here. As well, once I start filling out the edges with some stuff. So once we do that, I think the reservoir will be in a pretty good position and it won't really need too much more work. So yeah, I'm okay with it as it is right now. I also do need to find a spot for the portals because they are just kind of here. It's kind of terrible where they are, but I haven't really moved them anywhere. I don't know where I'm gonna put them, but questions for another time. But you know what? I'm really liking the way this space is going. I think it's been turning out pretty fantastic. It looks really really pretty. I'm really happy with it. I also last night started doing some more trees along the edge of this pathway over here, and I think it looks really fucking fantastic. These are just acacia saplings that I've been replacing with jungle trees. It looks like I missed something over here. There we go. Um, so I just grow acacia saplings, and then I just replace their shape with jungle wood and then jungle leaves. So, and then it looks fucking fantastic. It's a very time consuming. I'm not gonna lie. Like this whole path took me like 45 minutes, I think, to do all of this. But it's definitely less time consuming than building each tree individually. It's a lot simpler too. I don't have to like, break a bunch of blocks or whatever. it's a little bit easier to do, even though it is still time consuming. So this is what we're gonna do for the rest of the pathways. I think it's gonna look fantastic, and on the base looks great on the map. There's obviously still lots of areas that do need more work, like over here by the ziggurat this side, but like I said, I already have a plan for what I'm going to do over here. I think it's going to be a nice area because, I have like foresty areas. I have like a more mountainous sort of terrain, rocky kind of area. And I think an area that's very wet would be like a wet like wetlands, swamplands would look really really cool. I think that'd be another great addition to like the biomes of the base. And like I said, just looking at this base, I've spent like so if we take a look at playtime, um, it's almost 170 hours. It looks like I just hit 170 hours probably during this video actually. Uh, so, but I've spent 170 hours in here, and that's mostly because sometimes I just start walking around my base doing nothing, just looking at how pretty it is, because it looks fucking fantastic. I know that sounds a little bit I don't know, full of myself or something, but I did a fucking great job with this. It looks great. I really love this aesthetic of like trees and stuff and water everywhere. It's definitely a great change from Monty Factory's desert wasteland. Like, don't get me wrong, we had some really fantastic terrain in Monty Factory, but I did spend 700 hours staring at orange, so it's nice having some green. You know, I think it looks really, really great. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and being able to experiment with new types of terrain has been a lot of fun, as well as working in vegetation has also been some great has been a lot of fun too. And I like these tall trees over here. We don't really have too many tall trees in the rest of the base. We don't have any other than in the farm, and those don't count. So having an area that's rocky with tall trees is gonna look fucking amazing, and then having a wetlands is gonna look great. I cannot wait to see what this base is gonna look like when it's done. It's gonna be my best looking base by far, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to top myself. Like this is great. This is fantastic. Like the palette looks great. It looks like like a jungle fortress. Ugh, man, it's fantastic. It's so good. um, so I'm really excited with this base. Like the lead ingot was really kind of a downer thing, but I didn't really think about like stopping, about like giving up or whatever, because avoiding that many resources can really be a huge like, oh my God, I don't really want to play anymore. It's happened before. To many people, it's happened to me where it's like, oh my God, this thing just didn't work, and that was like something I spent so much time on. I'm done. And that can be a real downer. But you know what? I want to play the rest. I just want to keep playing because I want to keep building. This base is looking so good. Building waterways is a lot of fun. It's always a kind of a challenge to figure out how I want to do them. Um, I'm never really quite sure if they look great. But I think like them looking kind of bad is what makes them look great. Is they're not really supposed to be orderly and well designed. Water is chaotic. I mean, we know like water flows a certain way, but it flows chaotically. Organically, it's not supposed to flow in straight lines, so you can just kind of fuck around and just do some random shit and it'll work because water just kind of does some random shit. So I'm not sure if I want to put more water around over here. I think I'm definitely gonna leave. I'm gonna stop doing too much train work next to the ore processing uh, pyramid, specifically because I need to move it, like I mentioned. And I'm not actually sure if this area really needed to be a pyramid. Partially why I did it is I plan to do quantum quarries eventually. And this down here, it seems like it might be enough space to do some quarries. If it's not enough height on this pyramid, I can always dig down a layer or so. It actually would be pretty hard to notice. If since there's no windows in here and there'd be an elevator, I could dig down and it wouldn't be hard. You wouldn't know that I dug down beneath the level of the rest of the base. So I'll probably put some quantum quarries down here now that I'm thinking about it, and because quantum quarries will produce a lot of items. I don't have an exact list of all the items, but I've seen screenshots. Some guy had like 10 or 15 4x4 drawers or so from stuff it produced. So we're gonna want lots and lots of storage. The reason why I want to do quantum quarries instead of just regular RF tools quarries like I did in the last playthrough is because this server runs all the time, and if I want to keep running nuclear reactors, then I need a constant source of uranium and thorium. And the RF tools quarries won't really give us enough, I think. I don't think that'll be good enough. So, um, and the RF tools quarries, oh yeah, quarry card costs the same amount as, let's see, fortune quarry. It's about I think it costs about 20k. I know it's oh, it's clearing quarry. Fortune quarry is 600 per tick per block. Um, but for a large one, it's like 20k, I think, is what I remember it being. So, um, but yeah, we're gonna do quantum quarries because I won't have to continually move those like I did before. So those will just run forever. So I won't have to worry about running out of fuel, for instance, on my reactors. So that'll be nice. I already have a design for a thorium reactor. It'll eat a pellet every 2 minutes and it'll produce about 35,000 DARF per tick, I think. It's supposed to be it's a very efficient reactor, like 960% efficiency. So it'll be a pretty good reactor with a decent amount of power that'll replace our lava power for now. Um, I don't really know if I'm going to completely replace lava power. I might just turn it off and then just leave it as like emergency power that I can just like flick it on if like reactors turn off for some reason, and like is for something that if I need to like emergency turn applied energistics back on. I also might just move this lava tank into a storage area and continually pump lava because one thing we can do is we don't have lead on passive. We can get it on passive through the quantum quarry and stuff, but we can also get it on passive through dissolving. If you take lava in an evaporator, you can make a magma block, and a magma block gets you a lot of different elements, but specifically the one we want, he would be here, would be lead. It also gets bromine and fluorine, and bromine we'll need eventually for a singularity because you know what's really funny is this is the sixth log. It's technically five because we had zero to begin with. Um, I guess and I haven't stated a goal yet. I haven't really been thinking about one other than, man, this base is a lot of fun to build. I want to keep building it. So I guess that is one goal, is to build a base until I feel like it's completed, which may or may not be until after the singularities. But at the very least, I do want to know. I want to play at the very least up until the full infinity set. I think We're gonna go all the way this time. We're gonna get the infinity helmet, and then also, let's see. I guess we'll just here, Avarita. We want to get like the full infinity set and then also like the swords and the various tools and stuff. That won't be too bad because once we actually make like I think we can make the creative enemy storage cell, which is what we'll make in order to make because this is how we did the last time in Antimatter chemistry. This is how we made the armor, is we made and a creative enemy storage cell, which allowed us to actually craft the armor because otherwise it's mega super expensive. So it'll spend like another 10 minutes or so crafting probably. But you know, I want to go all the way this time. That seems like it'll be fun. So, but yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. And then we'll also build a base until I feel like it's more or less done. Which I don't know when. Like I said, I'm having a great time building this base. I think it looks great. I really love the aesthetic of like slowly reclaiming the world. I think it looks really good. And I'm having a lot of fun. So I think that's probably about it. I think it's all I've got. Um, but yeah, I know like I wonder if there's anything else I want to talk about. And I guess it's more this is less the craft related and more of me related. So if you're here for the craft, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have had a good week. And I guess I'll see you all again next week. But I want to keep talking about stuff because I feel like talking about stuff. And there are some people who seem to like listening to me talk about stuff. So I guess I'll talk about stuff. Um, I know this touches more on like what I talked about last week. About how it's so quick for, memory to, or for the present to fade into memory and the memory to be forgotten. But the other thing is, like I was thinking about mostly about last night, was like I was being done with college. Like I know that I brought this up many, many times over all of these videos. And yeah, that's partially like me repeating myself a lot, I guess. But it's also that like college is like it's a huge milestone in a lot of people's lives. It's for many people the first time you go and live on your own, you go and have to, figure out how do you do that. And the other thing is one thing I liked a lot about college was that I didn't really know who I was very well. Obviously, coming out of high school, I had like an idea of the things I liked and the things I didn't like. Like, oh, these are the kind of clothes that I like to wear, and these are the things I like to do. But like beyond that, like going into college, I didn't know who I was in more of an adult sense. And in college, it's like, oh, you don't have to know who you are. You don't have to know how your life is going to go because that's kind of the point of college is you don't know what who and what you are going to be, right? And going through college, it was always sort of like I never really thought about like, what am I going to do? Who am I going to be? Um and I'm like, oh, I'm in college. I don't have to have those answers yet. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh shit, I'm done with college and I still don't have those answers. And now it kind of feels bad, because now I feel like I'm moving out of college, and I still don't feel like I guess I don't really know who I am, but maybe that's kind of like life, I guess. I don't know. We're not going to figure out what the meaning of life here is in this Minecraft video. A lot of smarter people have been asking that question for me and asking that question before me, and I think there's no really one answer, I think. But anyway, maybe that's what, sort of like what life is a constant under discovery of who you are as you move through the various stages of your life. Like, who are you at 18? Who are you at 25? Who are you at 35? Learning who you are at all these stages of life. And I think I'm thinking a lot about it because, while I've completed one milestone, the college thing, um, I have yet to move into the next stage of, and arguably the longer stage of my life, which would be working a job. The job market in America fucking mega blows right now, especially for college graduates like myself. It's really quite bad. Um, so I'm still in that kind of like limbo in between two stages of my life, and it has me thinking a lot about who I am and what I want to do and who I want to be. And a lot of those things are good things to ask yourself. And a lot of them are like this is a little bit of advice I have for anyone. Never trust how you think about your life at 2 in the morning. Between the hours of like 10 p.m. and up until you've had your first meal of the day, you shouldn't trust how you feel about your life. Once you've like woken up and you had breakfast or lunch, depending on when you wake up, like me, um, don't trust how you feel about your life. That's all I have to say. Um, but being in this weird limbo state of in between two milestones, two phases of your life, kind of sucks, like a lot. I feel like that I should be, doing something more important than, playing video games and sending in job applications and then playing more video games. Like it, I don't know. I spent 3.5 years in college to get an aerospace engineering degree. I know a lot of really crazy things that, most people don't know, and that feels good. I like knowing stuff. Knowing stuff is fun. But I really wish I could, do stuff with that degree. I want to do engineering, I want to I want to be given problems and then find interesting solutions to these problems. Fuck, that's what I do on this channel. That's what I do. I, play video games. This channel is all about playing a game where it's about making problems for yourself and then finding fun and interesting solutions to those problems. That's a lot of fun for me, and I want to do that, like in a professional sense. And it's really hard to. I've sent out 100 job applications at this point, and I have gotten 0 callbacks. That's how bad it is right now. So, I don't know. That's probably for me. Like, I know this was a little bit of like a heavier section. Like, what's the meaning of life, guys? Like, hey guys, we're playing Minecraft, and then it ends with what's the meaning of life. So we kind of went from 0 to 100 here. But like I said before, a lot of these videos aren't just about the craft, which for some people they probably are, and that's okay. But for me, part of these things, I've said this, and I'm sure I'll say it 1,000 times more. A lot of these videos are also for me. Um, I talk about things that I'm doing, how I'm feeling, because how I'm feeling, the things I'm doing often reflect themselves in what I'm doing in the craft. And those things that I'm doing often are tied to how I things I remember. Like, for example, if we talk about, like, I often watch TV or YouTube videos while I play Minecraft in the background. I'll play for hours and hours, and usually I'll play something else on my second monitor. Um, and like over here, like this little rocky area, I was building this while I was watching the first season of Pantheon on Netflix. I was building this like I was doing a lot of digging out over here when I was watching. I think it was what's her name, Andrea Collier. I was watching one of her videos on the Best Science podcast, which is Car Talk, if you're curious, by the way. Um, and then I was doing a lot. I was actually building these pillars over here when I was binge watching Andor, which is like super good. I was building the mob farm, and I was building a lot of the mob farm as well as over here when I was watching Severance, actually, by the way, as well. So I remember like a lot of these areas that I build out are often tied to things that I was watching at the time, or music I was listening to at the time. Like the first half of the first antimatter chemistry run was tied very heavily to Barry Tomorrow's Earthbound album as well as Glasswalk. And the second half was tied more heavily towards Tempress's Diamantine album, as well as Hermitage, for example, as well. And over here, when I was building out this area quite poorly, is I was watching a video essay on House MD. It was like an hour and a half long. So a lot of these areas that I build are deeply tied to memory and deeply tied to things that I was doing at the time. You know, like for mechanical mastery, the first thing I played on this channel, that was tied very heavily towards things that my senior project, my capstone project in college. That was sort of the second semester of that capstone project. Antimatter chemistry is or the part of antimatter chemistry as well as the very early parts of all the mods 9 are tied very heavily to my lab job that I was working at CU Boulder over the summer, because those were things I played over the summer. Monty Factory is very heavily tied towards me more or less being unemployed again, or me being unemployed, because I've been unemployed pretty much since I started playing that. And uh, so a lot of these things that I'm doing are huge reflections of my life because I spend hundreds of hours and months playing these packs. So they're often deeply tied to memory about the things that I'm doing. And the things that I'm doing are also deeply tied to the mod packs that I was playing at the time. Like when I remember last summer, I remember playing antimatter chemistry, and I also remember going to do my lab job. Going in, fixing the 3D printer, working on documentation, leading the AI&T team there, holding meetings and stuff. That's very deeply tied towards that portion of antimatter chemistry. So to say I can't really separate Minecraft from the rest of my life. Like, I don't know if that's kind of like loser talk, like, oh, Minecraft's a part of my life, but I spend so much time here that I can't, the craft is who I am, and I am who the craft is, if that makes sense. Like, I've been playing Minecraft for over a decade at this point. So to say that Minecraft has had an impact on my life is what's a I is a little bit of an under significant, I guess, if we is an understatement. You know, like I attest to I think the reason I picked engineering is probably a combination of modded Minecraft, and Star Trek. um, or maybe I like modded Minecraft because I like engineering from a very young age. It's hard to say. It's hard to say which one pointed me towards engineering or if engineering pointed me towards the craft. Because I find that a lot of modern Minecraft is very systems engineering focused. Systems engineering is about the idea of not just building a specific system. Like, mechanical engineers might design a mechanical system, they might, or an electromechanical system, or the structure of an aircraft, but they'll focus on a very specific part of it. Systems engineers, they look at an engineering project as a whole. Their job is to make sure all these individual systems of, like, say, an aircraft, because obviously aerospace, so that's where I'm coming from. An aircraft or a spacecraft come together in a single whole, like a single holistic device that will work. That's not just 14 individual systems that are duct taped together, but dozens of systems that are supporting each other, working with each other in a way that becomes greater than the sum of their parts. So that's what to me that's what modern Minecraft is. Systems engineering. And I want to do that for a living. So, you know. Uh but yeah, so modern Minecraft is, a big part of who I am. And it's hard to I can't necessarily separate the craft and what I'm doing from who I am as a person. So, uh, I'm not saying like this channel is like, oh, it's all about me because I'm super important. No, I'm just some dude on the internet. Like y'all even don't even know who I am. Or maybe that's not true. Maybe maybe you can know who I am through the modded Minecraft that I play. I maybe I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, can you know? I guess another question is, can you know an artist through their work? And that's another question. Hold up for a minute, guys. Sorry, I need a sip of water. I've been talking for 45 minutes. Um, I don't have tea this morning. I actually I had to get uh Invisalign recently. I had braces when I was very young. But over college my teeth went back unfortunately, so I had to get Invisalign, and I can't drink. I can only drink, or I can't eat anything, and I can only drink room temperature or cold water without having to take them off. So if I want to drink tea, I have to take off my retainers, and they're annoying. So anyway, um I guess, can you know an artist through their work? And maybe, I don't know if you can necessarily call what I'm doing here art, but I guess that's more of a deeper conversation on what you think art actually is. You know? Um, and if you think this is art. I think maybe it could be. I think maybe it could be considered art. I mean, I put a lot of effort into it. I want to make sure it looks nice. It's in depth. It has maybe more meaning to me than it would to like someone who just would view it. But maybe you could find meaning, your own meaning in the work that I do. Um, maybe, maybe. I don't know if I can call this art on my own. Um, but maybe you guys can if you want. I don't know if you guys would consider this art. I think maybe I do. But so maybe you can know me through the worlds I play. Through the packs that I play and the things that I do. Um, maybe you know me more than say someone who I would talk to. Maybe you I don't know. That is an interesting question. And huh, okay. Well, I think that's more than enough deep questions for one Minecraft Let's Play video. Oh, no, it's not a Let's Play. Forgive me. Um, one progression log video. I think I've asked more than enough deep questions. Uh, so I hope you guys have had a good week. Mine's been pretty good. Been the denial letters and not having a job sucks, but I've been lucky enough to not have to worry about that. Um, but he's still on the hunt for the job. You know, so we'll see how that goes. So I hope you guys have a good upcoming week, and I will see you all again next week.